And as Lou had mentioned before, there were a couple of different mutinies that, because despite the number of times George Washington pled with the Continental Congress, please send us money, please send us food, please send us clothes, please send us, arms and other volunteers, people said we need everything. The number of times that he pled with them is beyond, it just kept going on and on and on. And in March of 1783, this is 2 years after Yorktown, but we're still doing the cleanup bit and they're still negotiating the Treaty of Paris and all the stuff. The officers were going to mutiny not because of Washington, but because they weren't getting paid. They weren't, all their families have been left. They volunteered and left their families for almost a decade, and they sacrificed everything and weren't getting anything because the Continental Congress didn't have anything to give. So Washington gets word of it, and he shows up at the officers' meeting, which was supposed to be, we're gonna,
Right.
we're gonna mutiny and whatever. And he walks in, and everyone they all respect him, and they all stand. And he says exactly. And the famous quote, he relayed to everyone, and he could relate to everyone as well. And the famous quote is, "Gentlemen, you will permit me to put on my spectacles, for I've grown not only gray, but almost blind in the service of my country." And for the first time, anyone saw like a chink in the armor. And he wanted to show that he was human, and he's also had suffered with them and all the others. And there are so many recounts of that particular evening, and these officers who were ready to mutiny all of a sudden are crying and like tears in their eyes, like, "We'll follow you till death's door. No
Right.
worries. Mutiny off."
Right. And that was one thing. He was one where he was an incredible leader, but he was personable and he was relatable, and that he just had an aura about him. And the other thing is his timing was impeccable. He just had a sense of timing and a sense of, almost like flair, where he could tell this is what's going on. This is what's happening right now. This is what I need to do. I need to act in this moment, and this is how I need to accomplish this mission. Whatever it may be, as a leader, as a statesman, whatever it was.
So we have George Washington, and that would have been enough to solidify him as being the GOAT, right?
Right.
Led the Continental Army, beat the British, the then greatest military in the world has seen. We had declared independence, and then we confirmed it with the victory in war. That would have been enough. But no, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
Exactly. He is, and is asked to be, the new executive under the terms of the Constitution, which we had talked about during all the ratification process in 1787. He had already gone back. He, continued with
citizen
the
now.
Continental Army, but he had wanted to go back to being the civilian farmer. No, we really need you again. You need to be the first executive. So he becomes, and is unanimously elected to be the first president of the United States in 1789. So you say, okay, well, big deal. Big deal. This is in his first 100 days, basically. Not only did they ratify the Bill of Rights, they designed the nation's court system, they created the first executive departments, they established the office of the president itself, and he gave it legitimacy. He formed a cabinet.
In a white wig.
He appointed the entire Supreme Court. One of the things that he did was he calmed the fears and made everything stable in this country. While the Bill of Rights was published and everyone understood it, it didn't say specifically that people could practice whatever religion they want. They said there will be no state established religion, but people were still worried that if they practiced Presbyterianism or if they were Catholic, that they'd be, run out or whatever. So in reading and going through my notes of Washington, at least 18 different religious groups in his first term alone wrote to the White House, to him particularly, asking him and saying, look, we understand that the state can't impose a religion, but are we free to practice our own religion? And he responded to all of them. And all of these things were frequently put in newspapers, by the way, because when they responded, they got it, they hand it to whatever, and they would be published so people could see it. And George Washington emphasized that religious liberty was not just a blessing, but a right. His words, I believe.
Right.
So he would calm the country down. This is what we're doing. We're stabilizing the country. He made sure that, that there was a functioning government, that there was a Department of the Treasury.